यूजर ने सिर्फ एडिटेड स्लैश ट्रिम्ड स्क्रिप्ट चाहिए है, कोई फाइल फॉर्मेट स्पेसिफाई नहीं की। ये स्क्रिप्ट स्टाइल कंटेंट है जो वॉइस ओवर के लिए यूज होगा, इसलिए चैट में ही डिलीवर करना बेस्ट है। कोई एक्सप्लिसिट वर्ड डॉक या सेव एज रिक्वेस्ट नहीं थी। द क्वाइट शिफ्ट, 7 signs you're entering a new chapter. There comes a moment in every person's life when everything begins to change, but most people don't recognize it when it arrives. They're waiting for success to look obvious. The money, the recognition, the dramatic breakthrough that proves they've made it. But life rarely works that way. The greatest transformations begin in silence, when nobody is watching, when you feel lost, and the things that once motivated you no longer feel meaningful. Here's the truth most people never understand. Before your life gets better, your old identity usually has to disappear. The person you were yesterday cannot always walk into the future you secretly dream about. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. From the outside, nothing seems to be happening. It looks forgotten, but underneath, it's breaking apart because it's becoming something greater. That's exactly what may be happening in your life right now. Maybe you've been questioning yourself. Maybe progress feels too slow. But what if the struggle isn't a sign you're failing? What if it's a sign you're preparing? There are hidden signs that appear before a person enters the most powerful chapter of their life. Your mindset changing, your standards rising, your old habits losing their grip. Many people miss these signs entirely. They mistake transformation for destruction and give up right before everything starts making sense. Your life moves in seasons, building, struggling, learning, and then rarely a season where everything you've quietly prepared for comes together. The problem is we judge our lives by what we can see today. We look at an unfinished chapter and assume the story is going nowhere. But the greatest people in history weren't shaped in comfort. They were shaped in uncertainty, making difficult choices without knowing the outcome, believing in themselves while the world gave them no reason to. The mind changes first, the identity changes first, the results come later. This is why some people seem to rise overnight. Nobody sees the years of invisible preparation, the battles fought inside their own head, the moments they chose discipline over comfort. Here are the 7 signs that you're in that process right now. 1. Your old life stops fitting. There's a moment when the life you once wanted no longer feels like enough. The goals that used to excite you feel empty. The conversations that used to entertain you feel hollow. At first, this seems like a problem. Maybe you think you're losing motivation. But there's a simpler explanation. You've outgrown it. Imagine a jacket from childhood. It once fit perfectly. Now it restricts you. Not because it's flawed, but because you've grown. The same happens with identity. Beliefs that helped you survive one chapter, I'm not capable, success is for other people, may not be strong enough to carry you into the next one. A quiet new voice starts asking, there must be more. That question is the doorway. The person who never questions stays trapped in the same patterns. Most people mistake this discomfort for being on the wrong path, but discomfort is often the price of expansion. A muscle doesn't grow by staying comfortable. Around this time, many people start protecting their time more carefully and choosing what they let into their minds because they've realized your environment either feeds your future or keeps you tied to your past. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift changes how every obstacle looks, from punishment to preparation. 2, you start choosing yourself over approval. There's a moment when you stop asking the world, do they like me? And start asking yourself, am I becoming who I was meant to become? This is one of the deepest shifts a person can go through because most of us build our identity around approval. Careers chosen for expectations, decisions made to impress, worth measured by comparison. It works for a while. But applause fades, attention moves on, and if your identity was built entirely on being accepted, you eventually face an uncomfortable question. Who are you when nobody is watching? Not the version you perform for others, the one underneath, with your fears, your unfinished dreams, your hidden potential. This is where identity becomes the foundation of everything. Your actions, habits, and choices all flow from how you see yourself. A person who sees themselves as disciplined makes disciplined choices automatically, but changing identity isn't easy. Your old self will fight to survive, and familiar excuses will call you back. What separates people who break through is simple. They value their future more than their immediate comfort. Before your circumstances improve, your standards improve first. You start noticing opportunities you'd ignored before, not because the world changed, but because you did. It's like looking through a clearer window. The view was always there. You just couldn't see it. 3. The wrong connections start falling away. Sometimes, before life introduces you to the right people, it removes the wrong ones first. Places that once felt comfortable start to feel limiting. Conversations that once entertained you start to feel empty. This can be confusing because humans are wired for familiarity. The mind often prefers a familiar struggle over an unfamiliar possibility. That's why people stay in situations that don't serve them, not because they're choosing pain, but because they're choosing certainty. But the person you're becoming can't always survive in the environment that shaped the person you used to be, like a tree whose roots need to spread beyond a space too small for it. So you start protecting your energy differently. You notice which conversations leave you inspired and which drain you. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about respecting your own growth enough to make different choices and seeking people who raise your standards instead of validating your lowest habits. Your subconscious absorbs what it repeatedly sees and hears, so your surroundings matter more than most people admit. Sometimes the distance that opens up between you and certain people exists simply because they represent who you used to be, and staying tied to everything from your past creates an inner conflict between the part of you that wants growth and the part that wants comfort. It's worth separating two feelings here. Loneliness is feeling disconnected, while solitude is using quiet time to reconnect with yourself. Many of history's great thinkers and creators had periods of stepping away from noise, not from hating people, but to find clarity. And as you do this, your relationship with failure starts to change too. Setbacks stop feeling like proof you're incapable and start feeling like part of the process. 4. Struggle starts making you instead of breaking you. There's a point where pain changes its meaning. Challenges that once felt like they were destroying you start building you. Failures that once made you doubt yourself start sharpening you. Many people believe a successful life means a life without problems. But problems aren't always interruptions. Sometimes they're instructions, revealing weaknesses, exposing fears, and forcing you to discover abilities you didn't know you had. Like a diamond which becomes valuable not by staying untouched but by going through pressure, the process changes its structure. Two people can face the same failure. One says, "This happened because I'm not capable." The other says, "This happened because I need to grow." The event is identical. The interpretation changes everything. And real confidence often comes not from winning, but from surviving, from having watched yourself handle storms, rebuild, and keep moving when motivation disappeared. This is where identity shifts from victim of circumstance to creator of response. You can't always choose what happens to you, but you can choose who you become because of it. A person stuck in the past asks, "Why did this happen?" A person moving forward asks, "What can I build from this?" That question alone creates power, because every setback carries a hidden lesson. A failed attempt teaches strategy. A rejection teaches patience. A painful experience often reveals a strength that was sleeping inside you. 5. Fear stops making your decisions. There's a constant quiet battle inside every person. One voice whispering about possibility, another reminding you of everything that could go wrong. For most people, the second voice wins often enough that they live below their potential, not from lack of talent, but because fear becomes the invisible wall between who they are and who they could be. One sign you're entering a new stage is that this battle starts shifting. You still feel fear, but it no longer drives the car. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's deciding something else matters more. Your purpose, your growth, your potential. Nobody starts with guarantees. The person building something doesn't know every obstacle ahead, but they move anyway, and the movement itself changes them. This works through a simple principle. Action creates evidence. Every time you take action and it works, your mind collects proof that you're capable, and slowly your identity shifts from someone who hopes they can overcome obstacles to someone who has. Small, repeated decisions matter more than big dramatic ones. Waking up when you don't feel like it, continuing when progress feels slow, showing up when nobody's applauding. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect, the ability to choose your future over a passing emotion. Part of this sign is also learning patience. A farmer doesn't plant a seed today and demand a harvest tomorrow. Growth happens beneath the surface long before it's visible, and one day the outside world finally catches up to the change that already happened inside you. 6. You care more about becoming than appearing. There's a real difference between wanting to look successful and wanting to become successful. Many people decorate the outside while ignoring what's happening within, chasing image, recognition, and respect, while skipping the harder inner work that actually creates results. But a building can look impressive and still collapse if its foundation is weak. For people, that foundation is habits, beliefs, and character. One of the clearest signs you're entering your best stage is caring more about who you're becoming than how you're perceived. You stop performing and start improving. You stop asking, how can I impress people? And start asking, how can I grow? Real confidence in this version isn't built from compliments. It's built from competence, from knowing you've practiced, learned, and kept your promises to yourself. That last part matters more than it sounds. Every kept promise to yourself strengthens self-trust. Every broken one weakens it. Over time, this becomes an identity. Someone who trusts their own word, which is its own kind of freedom, because you stop needing outside motivation to keep going. Motivation comes and goes. Systems and discipline remain. Greatness isn't built in rare bursts of inspiration. It's built in ordinary moments, repeated, that nobody else sees. The early mornings, the small sacrifices, the moments where quitting would have gone unnoticed. 7. Purpose becomes stronger than fear. Eventually, something inside you becomes quietly certain, not because every problem is solved, but because you realize life isn't just about getting through the day. It's about becoming someone and building something meaningful. Purpose changes how you see everything. Without it, even comfort can feel empty. With it, even difficulty can feel meaningful. A person without purpose asks, why is this happening to me? A person with purpose asks, how can this help me become stronger? The situation is the same. The person isn't. Think of a sculptor shaping stone. From the stone's perspective, pieces are simply being removed. Pressure, force, loss. But the sculptor sees the final form the stone cannot see yet. Sometimes life works the same way. Certain beliefs break apart, certain relationships change, certain old versions of you disappear, and it can feel like something is being taken, but it may actually be revealing what was hiding underneath. At this stage, you stop only asking what you can gain and start asking what you can contribute, impact, legacy, the difference you want to make. And when purpose grows stronger than fear, you become harder to stop. Not because life gets easier, but because your reason gets stronger. Putting it together. Before a person's life improves, their thinking improves. Before circumstances shift, identity shifts. Before they receive something new, they often have to become someone new. So look honestly at your own life. Are you becoming more aware, more disciplined, more selective with your energy, more focused on growth? If so, don't mistake the discomfort for failure or the uncertainty for being lost. Sometimes what feels like confusion is simply the old version of you losing its grip. A seed doesn't become a tree in a day. A person doesn't become their best self in a single moment. It happens through thousands of small, invisible choices, repeated until one day the world notices what your mind was quietly building for years. Your past explains where you started. Your circumstances describe where you are. Neither one has the final say over where you can go. The next chapter isn't created by luck. It's created by the person you choose to become.